I've lived and worked in this division for a few years at IAS. I learned a lot during this time together, and it's good to make new acquaintances, but I really appreciated every minute of the time here. So thank you for all the things you've contributed and are contributing to God's work here. I'll try to be very brief. I do serve, each of us serve various BRCs throughout the world, and I'm privileged to serve 3 BRCs that are all connected with Asia. Here, the Southern Asia Pacific Division, the Northern Asia Pacific Division, and the Euro-Asia Division. Then also, I help with the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventism, and we all have some responsibilities regarding answering questions that come to us, so I help with that. I have the responsibility under me of reviewing and coordinating the BRI examination of Sabbath school lessons. And as some of you know, I think there's a pilot project here with Alive in Jesus. This is a brand new Sabbath school curriculum that I think will be very much a blessing for the world church. It even includes, besides the other levels that we're used to, even a level for babies, which is interesting. Babies, beginners, kindergarten, primary, junior, early teen, youth, and also we look at Inverse, which is the collegiate level quarterly, and the Adult Bible Study Guide. Together with my colleague Daniel Bediaco, we are reviewing a new book on Sola Scriptura by Gerhard Vandal. I serve as helping with secretarial responsibilities for the Theological Subcommittee of the Faith and Science Council, which combines scientists and theologians and educators that meet to produce materials to reinforce our understanding of creation, the flood, and other biblically based topics related to faith and science. And then finally, I am, together with Alberto Tim, we are editing a new project called Exploring Issues Related to the Doctrine of the Trinity. 59 chapters, at least 250 pages are projected. We want it to be a book of wide circulation because this is a problem that is affecting a lot of places across the world church. There will be a number of sections: introductory questions, 7 questions, 7 questions from the Old Testament, 19 questions dealing with the New Testament, 8 questions regarding historical studies, 5 questions dealing with Ellen White, 4 questions on theological studies, and then 9 questions for contemporary issues. So it covers quite a large range of issues that are connected with that. So thank you very much. And I don't know who's next. Okay, Frank Hazel.
Sometimes I'm asked by people, even non-Adventist people, what are you working? Where are you working? What do you do? And how do you explain the work of the BRI to someone who has no idea what the BRI is? So I'd like to say I work for a small theological think tank for my church, because that's really what the BRI is. It's a small theological think tank where we serve the church in various capacities to deal with theological and ethical questions that we face today in the church and in the world. So in addition, I'll be as short as I can to the various committees that have been mentioned already by Clinton. I also speak, as many of us, for Bible conferences around the world and retreats like this. And I serve in different biblical research committees of the West African Division and the Euro-Africa Division and the Inter-European Division, as it's called now, and also in the SPD, that is Australia and the Pacific Islands. So my work for the BRI really encompasses the following: to explore biblical truth, to research theological questions, to provide answers to theological and other challenges that we face as the church, and to be a resource for GC leadership in various questions, and to foster theological unity in the worldwide Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now that is a challenge, as you can imagine, because we are very diverse and international and intercultural church, perhaps the most diverse church of all the churches in the world. And how do we try to do that? We try to do that through our publications, for instance, and through symposia and conferences like these, where we talk to teachers and pastors. And my responsibility at the BRI is to be the editor of the BRI newsletter. Now I have a feeling that a number of you have not subscribed yet. Don't do it on the Sabbath. We don't want you to work extra on the Sabbath day. But once the Sabbath is finished, and before you head home, please subscribe to the BRI newsletter and be sure to list your name and your email address there. I'm also a member of BRICOM, the Biblical Research Institute Committee of the Worldwide SDA Church. That is more than just the BRI. It's 45 members with representatives and scholars and administrators from all divisions of the world, and we meet twice a year to discuss theological questions and issues, and also the Faith and Science Committee of our church that deals specifically with questions of creation and evolution and the integration of faith and learning in these areas of the natural sciences. The BRI also has an ethics committee that deals specifically with ethical questions, and you'd be amazed what kind of ethical questions we face today. Some things I would not even come up in my own thinking. And we need to give answers to some of these ethical questions that are pressing. And so there's a subcommittee of the BRI that deals with that. I'm also a book editor, and I'm excited to tell you that we have a new textbook coming up. It's already at the publishers, that will deal with our Adventist fundamental beliefs, Adventist theology. What do we believe as Seventh-day Adventists? And it's designed to be a new textbook for our colleges around the world. It is written by Dr. John Peckham from Andrews University, and I have helped edit that book with him, and we hope that by the fall of this year it will be ready to be used in the classroom. So this is one of the resources how we as the BRI try to foster unity in the church by providing textbooks for our colleges, and some of my colleagues will tell you about other interesting textbooks and projects there. Let me just end by mentioning one really exciting thing that we have started last year, and where we are venturing into new territory. With the communications department at the General Conference, I have been asked to produce a new video podcast series. Do you know what a podcast is? So our young people like to listen to podcasts and video podcasts. And we have started a new video podcast series, Understanding Adventist Beliefs, where I have invited various scholars and experts for every single of our Adventist fundamental beliefs, and where we have a discussion on a round table where we explore in greater detail the beauty and the relevance and the biblical meaning of our fundamental beliefs, so that people can better understand who we Adventists are. So this is something that we try to provide from the BRI for the younger generation, And maybe once it is done, I hope that by next month, the first issue can be released by the communications department. And then if you see it, maybe you get inspired to do something similar in your area of the world, or maybe translate that and use it wherever it is possible. So that's my little report, and I'll pass on to my colleague Daniel, who is just coming. Daniel is struggling a little bit with his health, so be gracious with him.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy and honored to see my dean here. And thank you. I mean, much has been mentioned already. We also, maybe before I see what I'm doing, basically. When I was listening to the reports, I kept thinking and saying that all the presidents of colleges here or universities here, we need to actually pat their backs to say thank you. I have served as a president of a university of 8,000 troublesome students and 500 faculty and staff. Sometime by the end of the month, when you have to pay salary, about $300,000 every month. And the money is not there. You see people, children walking around. What will their parents do tomorrow? That is where the work of a president of a university actually is. So I may Lord bless you all. My name is Daniel Bediako, but I am not related to Matthew Bediako. Not at all. We are from the same country, but his tribe is different and my tribe is different. I think someone else, everybody's asking, are you going to do Matthew Bediako? No. I also serve on several committees, BRC. Myself, Frank and I serve on the West Central Division, BRC. I serve with Elias on the Trans-European Division, BRC. And also a BRICOM, and other things. BRI members, we write a lot, writing, editing, and that's what we do. So, and then Clinton and I also are working on the Sola Scriptura, a book that is being written. Now, one of my responsibilities actually is to answer questions that are asked through the website. So at the end of the month, the office coordinator gathers all the questions. And says, Daniel, you are here, so how to begin to answer the questions. And we get questions from everywhere in the world, from pastors, from scholars, from everywhere. So maybe if you have some questions, you can send. But I'm sure that you don't need questions. You don't have questions to ask. Now, and my major task at the moment, actually, is the editing of the Seventh-day Adventist International Biblical Theological Dictionary. This is going to be a new dictionary, and we're expecting about 6,000 entries. So if you are here and you have an entry, you have not done it yet, tomorrow send it. Send it to Dr. Merga and everything like that. So maybe let me end here. Thank you so much.
After all of my colleagues spoke, I feel so young, because I'm the youngest. Not in age, but of working for BRI. Actually, my task is, to a certain extent, overlaps with my colleagues, being a member of some committees and doing almost the same in areas that we are supposed to serve, although we have different specialities. And, okay. I would like to highlight just a few, maybe 3 projects that I would like you to be aware of. One of those, or the first one, is a new textbook on Ellen White. This is a project that has been started quite a while, and we are working together, Frank Caso and myself, and this is a project of the BRI, who started it by joining the White Estate as well. And let me just mention, it has 5 sections, and we have the titles of the chapters and also the authors. You can see by the names that are listed there that we have special people that are really specialized on those areas. And come on, what happened? Oh, I think my time is over. This is the message that I got from it. And now is at the... Okay, this is section 2. The person of Ellen White and her time. Then section 3, Ellen White's contribution to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. There is chapter 10 is a very interesting one, now covering the whole Bible. Ellen White's insights into Scripture in light of the original biblical languages. You have section 4, Ellen White and her writings. And then we have finally, I think that better you move over there, I think it is not working as well as I thought. Okay. And what Ellen White means for us today. The intention with this book is to have people have understanding of the theoretical part and also to have an experience, not only being just theoretical. It's intended to college level. It should start with an illustration that becomes a motif within the book, and so that people can be excited about it. The idea is, I would say God's willing, but I think it's our effort that really counts to be done with this year, and then to have a worldwide launching similar to an annual council, and to have this book translated already in advance into as many languages as possible. And when we launch it, people can buy it already, order it, let's suppose in Indonesian, in whatever other language that you want, and it should be launched at the GC, at the auditorium with the authors over there. Another project that we are just dreaming about and starting to think that the outline is not yet done is a history of the Biblical Research Institute, because many things have taken place throughout the decades, important productions and things that maybe we are not even, our generation is not aware of, and then to bring them all together so that the huge contribution that BRI has given to the worldwide church can be at least have some memory, a legacy, and you can have access to them as well, at least to be aware. And the third one point that maybe Elias can even expand a little bit more is to have a new website, or to make it a little bit more friendly, attractive, and to make it the main source of theological references of the church, and in as many languages as possible. So if you would be able to help us on this task, because we don't have resources as far as personal and financial, but let's suppose that in any of those languages that you have access to, you are willing to translate some of the documents that we have there, it would be nice to have a window in the language. Of course, I have been here in Indonesian, but that would be nice to have a file in Indonesian, over there with documents that your students could read, and in other languages as well. So I would appeal, please help us in this task. Together, alone, we can do very little, but together we can make a difference in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you to my colleagues for presenting the reports. I don't want you to think that I'm idle there, that I'm just asking people to do things and I'm not working. But let me highlight here just two projects that I'm involved with. One is a project on ethics of technology, where we are dealing with issues related to artificial intelligence, transhumanism, and social media, the impact of social media on the Christian life, and everything related to these recent developments in science and technology. So this is a huge project, very important project that I'm functioning as a coordinator for now. We have about 23 chapters. We hope to make it into a book of about 23 chapters that have been assigned already for authors to write. The other project that I'm involved with is what we provisionally call a DARCOM supplement. Probably you know the series Daniel Revelation Committee, 7 volumes that was produced by the General Conference or by the BRI many years ago, dealing with issues in Daniel, Revelation, and also Sanctuary. Some issues were not tackled at the time. Some issues came up later. So the idea is to have a volume now dealing with those issues. And for that, we are planning a publication of probably about 30 chapters that we hope to have ready for the GC session of 2025. So these are the two biggest projects that I'm involved personally in terms of publications. Of course, there's the routine work of the BRI and the other issues that I don't need to mention here to you, but I wanted just to highlight these publications. I thank Alberto for mentioning the issue of this website of the BRI, and the appeal has been made, so every help is welcome. Feel free to contact Alberto, to email him if you have a contribution to make translations, if you're really to translate in your local languages. I think that that's a very important project that we want to implement there, and Alberto is helping us with that. But I don't want to belabor more in other things of the BRI, but I want to finish now, after 4 hours here, sitting, probably you're tired, but it's the final moments, and I want to once more express our deep gratitude for you coming here. This biblical theological retreat was a way that the General Conference found to express recognition for the tremendous and important work that you do for the church. Your work is tremendously important. Maybe sometimes you may feel that you're just one more teacher there hiding in some small school, in some corner of the world of the division. But you do a tremendous work for the church, and the church recognizes that. And this was a way that we found to express that recognition. You have the responsibility of shaping the minds of students. And you have the same experience that probably I had, that I did, when you see a student coming for the first year of theology. Rough material, raw matter. Then you shape into a great pastor to serve the church. Someone who upholds the scripture, the authority of scripture. Someone who is loyal to the mission, to the message, to the lifestyle of the church. So this is the kind of pastors that we prepare. And I'm sure that all of you are committed to give to the church that kind of person to serve in ministry. So there are no words to express the importance of what you do. So thank you very much, and accept the gratitude of the BRI. So I'm speaking on behalf of my colleagues. Our recognition for the work you do. I also would like to express our recognition and acknowledgement for the great work that Elder Mandolan did